Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here, Golden Opportunities Coaching. Welcome to those of you who are new. Welcome back to those of you who are seasoned veterans. And what we do around here is we break down psychological, spiritual, and emotional concepts in discernible language for your benefit. Please feel free to like, subscribe, comment below. If there's an audio you'd like to see made, we can certainly do that usually within a couple of days. But in any event, today we're going to talk about 8 signs it's time to let go of your crush. It is extremely difficult to let go of a crush, right? We build up in our minds the idea that this person is the answer to all of our romantic challenges, and we are going to ride off in the sunset on white horses and all that good stuff. And for some people that happens, and it's wonderful when it does, but more often than not, crushes are based on desire more than the reality of the desire becoming fulfilled. And so it's oftentimes to let go of a crush. The younger we are, the more likely that becomes, but that's a whole different story for a whole nother audio. In any event, these 8 concepts and ideas are reasons to let go of that person. So in the beginning of getting to know a crush, they do give us attention because they're trying to figure us out just as much as we're trying to figure them out, right? And so, that attention can feel good, and then we build up ideas about what could be, and we think about how attractive they are mentally, physically, emotionally, and we build stories in our minds, and we archetype those stories. Now, for the most part, if a person has true interest, they are going to be consistent with their communication, consistent with their intention, consistent with getting to know us more. When that inconsistency stops, there's a challenge. Now, that's not to say that life events can't come up that cause a person to become focused on other things, but when you get to the point where you start to feel forgotten by your crush, it is time to let go. Look, people move forward, people move on, and unfortunately, they don't always know that we are investing as much emotionally in them as we are. And so them moving on doesn't mean any malice on their part. It just means, I didn't know you were that interested, so I went dating. I went and did what I need to do, and I didn't realize that this was going to cause you as much discord or discomfort as it has. Now, they don't mean any malice by this, but if we feel forgotten on a consistent basis, it's usually time to let go of our crush. The next one is they're not starting conversations. And so in a reciprocal, useful, beneficial, mutually beneficial relationship, it is important that both people put in close to equal amounts of energy and time and effort and focus. And so in a good situation, that's usually somewhere 65-35, 60-40, somewhere in that general range. It's kind of like a seesaw. Sometimes I do more, sometimes you do more, and everybody wins because at the end of the day, it all evens out. If you are the one starting conversations more than 70% of the time with your crush, chances are they do not see you in a way where they're willing to make you a priority, which means if they're not willing to make you a priority, sooner or later, the relationship and the connection will stall out. Now, this can go on, unfortunately, and I say unfortunately because the longer it goes on, the more expectations we have. But unfortunately, this can go on for several months. If you start to notice that you're, for a period of several weeks or longer, putting more energy into the connection, putting more time, putting more effort, putting more thought, it is time to let go of your crush because they are benefiting greatly from the emotion, the attention, the affection you're giving them, but they're not reciprocating, which means they don't see you in the same light that you would want to be seen. The next thing to consider is when they constantly cancel plans or cancel conversations or don't make time. In the beginning, a crush is going to make time because they're trying to figure out whether they have interest in you or you have common interest already, hobbies, and maybe you like the same band, maybe you enjoy the same activities, maybe you hang in the same social group, and so they pair off with you because they like how you vibe, they like your personality, or they find you attractive and wonder if they can get a one-night stand or something like that going on. In any event, there's a million reasons why your crush may flood you with attention early or give you consistent attention early and then pull back. Now, life is crazy. People do more now probably than any other time in human history to keep themselves amused and occupied, which means canceling plans upon occasion is bound to happen. We all get busy. We have different, things that we're trying to accomplish. We have multiple friendships, family dynamics, and other things that can take our responsibility away. So canceling once or twice, not a big deal. It happens to all of us. But if there's a pattern of canceling plans, if there's a pattern of canceling phone calls, if there's a pattern of I'm going to do and then I don't follow through. So really it's the absence of follow through. That means your crush again has not placed you as a priority in the way that you'd like to be placed, and it's time to let them go because waiting around for someone to place you as a priority, especially when you've shown them that they don't have to, by your actions of always being forgiven and being forgiving in the dynamic, it's time to let go of that situation. Now, it can be extremely difficult to do that because you're being taken advantage of in a lot of cases, which is the next point on the list. When you start to feel you're being taken advantage of, or if your friends or loved ones, family, even, and I've seen this, former partners start to look at you and say, "Hey, this person's taking advantage of your kindness, or they're gaining something from this that most people would see, and you're not seeing it because you're blinded by your love or your admiration for them." And multiple people are saying this to you. One person, they may have an ulterior motive. Two people, we're starting to consider. By the time a third person has said to you independently, "Hey, this person is taking advantage of you for something," or they're getting something from this, and you're not getting what you want out of it, and three separate people or more have said to you, "Hey, you might want to consider this," it's time to let go of that crush because one person can have a skewed opinion. Two people, hey, could be a coincidence. By the time you get to a third person or more, people are seeing something you're refusing to see or unwilling to see or don't want to see. And they're saying it for your protection. So obviously, unless it's like a best friend that's known you for a whole bunch of years, then probably give their opinion more credence than not. But looking at multiple people saying the same or similar things, yeah, it's time to reconsider that relationship. The next thing on the list is if you start to become obsessed to the point where it's impeding other areas of your life. And this especially happens for teenagers, but it also happens for people that have had emotional trauma, usually related to relationships. So the end or breakup or divorce of parents, abusive situations where you're constantly appealing for a person's love and focus, or you've had a traumatic experience with a very young or early relationship, you can actually become obsessed with a certain outcome. And in reality, and I say this with all intention of helping people who might be stuck on a crush. Look, there's 7 billion people on the planet. You need one of them to vibe with you. If a person isn't and it starts to feel like work, you're actually doing both of you a disservice because sooner or later, your crush may come around, but they'll come around because they're going to benefit, not because what they see in you is genuine, because if they saw it as genuine, they would have acted sooner, right? If you're having to wait months or even years to get their attention, there's a leverage point that they're gaining through giving you the attention at a time that's beneficial to them that they didn't see before, and it's not going to end well in most situations. And so if other people are telling you to move on, that's another sign that it's time to let go. Like if the people in your life are uncomfortable with the relationship and your obsession, and that obsession is affecting your work life, it's affecting how much time you spend with your friends. I've actually seen people who say, "Oh, well, don't call me between," I dealt with this about 3 months ago. I had one client who was saying, "Don't call me between 8 and midnight. My ex, or my crush rather, might text me." And they had this standard for blocked off 7 days a week. So they were blocking off for a potential. They were blocking off almost 30 hours a week of time, and that's just an unhealthy thing. And so when things become out of balance, it's time to let go of that person because you're blocking off other potential opportunities which will not lead to a directive that you really want. So the last one is if they're dating somebody else seriously. So if your crush is just starting to date someone new and it's still in a situation where they're continuing to be consistent with their action, as consistency is a major part of this, then yeah, okay, continue to pursue it. But if they're dating someone else and they're talking about being serious, or they're dating someone else and they're sleeping with that person and you're not into polyamory, or they're dating someone else and other people are talking about, or they're talking on social media about how happy they are, it's obviously time to let go. Our gut instincts will tell us, hey, maybe that'll change. But really, do you really want to clean up the damage done by a relationship that didn't work? Because we all carry scars from every relationship that doesn't work. Very few people, some, but very few go into a relationship saying, if this doesn't work, I'll be fine. No, we put our emotions, our love, our consideration, our concern, our time, our energy, our effort into making relationships or trying to make them work. And so when it doesn't, that person's carrying more baggage than they were when they came in. And for you to be the person they choose would also mean that, in fact, you would have to help them traverse the negative experiences they had in that previous relationship and any others that they left lingering. So it's an unhealthy scenario. At the end of the day, these are just signs that maybe it's time to let go of your crush. In any event, until next time, keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. Until next time, everybody.